everyone, and welcome to episode 174 of Fans of Power. I'm Joe Amato, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Tyler T-Rex Baker, and Nathan is here, not for the whole show, but he's here for a bit. So how you doing, Nathan, too? Bam. He's there. He's here in spirit, I guess. But how's it going, T-Rex?
I'm here. The audio started going, and I had to mute that. Go ahead, Tyler.
I'm all right. I'm hoping I'm not going to be a sludge and not drag. I was telling before, like I'm just kind of dragging emotionally and mentally, not from anything you guys might be thinking of. It's just you just kind of feel deflated.
It's gradually moving on you.
I kind of figured as much. Damn it.
There we go.
That's usually my part of the game right there, is where the camera. I'm sure it's going to fall at some point, or it's going to shift. But
I'm sure it'll probably happen again here. So just let me know, because sometimes I don't catch it till it's too late, and then I pull an Amato. Like, oh shit.
Right. But before we get into some of the stuff, first let me say hello to the people that are here in the chat room. Your favorite Blockhead, Zentron, Delvis78, Motu fan number 1. I did say Zentron already. See how quick? That's how bad my mind is. Descendants of Grayskull is joining us. Fedbon is here. Zen Brown. And Grimbot is here as well. And Maxworks. Hey, Maxworks, how you doing? So he's joined us. Tags Media Animation. And I think I got everybody. If I missed somebody, I apologize. But, well, we got, like I said, we got a couple topics, comparing some of the mini comic to a cartoon stuff, but not like a rant. Yeah, it's a rant. I'm going to do a rant.
Before you get going, I don't want you to start putting up caution signs in front of your conversation here, okay? You speak from the heart, and this is not going to be edited or apologize. You just say what you need to say.
Well, here comes
right?
a rant. Yeah, because you know what's funny is first it used to, for me, it was like pet peeves. I had some of the silliest, what you'd call pet peeves. But, okay, first let me just say, like, when I first started off in the world of He-Man and when I got online, I'd see stuff like Castle Grayskull spelled with an E, but I understood that in many comics, even in the Filmation cartoon, at times it was E, but I was like, God damn it, it's an A. It's an A, so it drove me nuts. But that's not what I'm getting to. I'm getting to, as you know, I embrace and love everything about Masters of the Universe. People have started, of course, tagging me on Facebook, and it's even became an algorithm, believe it or not, where people will post a picture and it automatically tags Joe Amato. And sometimes it's real cool international stuff, whether it's merchandise or a piece of art and things. And I always tell everybody, hey, that's cool, no problem. And sometimes they're not even on my friends list. They just know me, and somehow it still tags me. But I'll let you know of 3 things that I never want to be tagged in. So like I said, I enjoy it all, and I appreciate what people do. But these 3 things I never want to be tagged in because they drive me insane. First is that stupid-ass picture of Fisto saying, I tried to fist them all, He-Man, or I couldn't fist them all, or some bullshit, to where they're taking that beautiful mini-comic, Clash of Arms, that we love, that Larry Houston illustrated, to where, he's talking about fighting them all, and, he couldn't fight them all or whatever, he fought real hard. And people have started thinking that, I guess it's funny. I just don't like it because it does that thing where it paints a picture of Masters of the Universe where people like to mock it, and it's just, silly, and look at this. But some people actually didn't know, and they tagged me and said, Joe, did he really say that in the mini comic? I'm like, no, and I showed the real piece. But then there's others that just love it, and if they love it, fine. But I don't. I'm just saying, I hate that thing.
Are you still getting tagged? Because we discussed that a while back. Are you still getting tagged in that?
Yes, I still get tagged, and would you believe it's still making the rounds? That damn picture is still making the rounds. Like, if it hits some kind of pop culture page, it's new to everybody else, and bam, it starts getting shared, and it just starts hitting everywhere. And for me, it's kind of juvenile and silly. I just don't like it. I find no humor in that piece at all. But that's the one thing. If you're to tag me, don't tag me in that.
Oh, all right. Let me piggyback on what Joe just said. If you hear this and you have tagged Joe in this, or you plan to, or you come across it and you buy that, I want you to know that you're a Captain Dipshit. That you're an absolute moron. And I'm not going to apologize. I don't care who takes offense to that. It's silly and dumb as shit for any adult to think that, some jerk off who gets off on making homoerotic humor with He-Man, which I'm sick and tired of that label that gets attached to He-Man all the time, but throws it out there, and these idiots had the nerve, actually believed it was real and wanted to contact Joe about it. I just feel like God, I mean, you guys are just the biggest. Get your head out of your asses, you damn simpletons. And I'm not going to apologize for that. So if there is somebody that's like, I'm really offended because I genuinely didn't know, I don't give a shit if you didn't know, you moron.
Well, there you go from Tyler. But no, see, that's what I mean. You guys, like I said, I always appreciate everything you tag me in. But when I'm letting you now know things I don't want to, it's just three main things. That's one of them. So just, I never want to see that. Two, we know that the Masters of the Universe movie, whenever it happens, let's God forbid, if it happens, the day I'll believe it is when I see the trailer of it.
Principal
so
photography, July.
It has been almost 18 years. That's why I'm letting you know. This is, like I said, it's not me yelling at anybody. I'm just letting you know, for if you ever want to tag me and stuff in the future, first, not the Fisto. Second, don't ever tag me and say, Joe, the movie's coming out. It's been 18 years of this damn thing happening, and I have been tagged so many times in so many different scripts and writers, producers, directors, studios. Until there's a trailer, just please don't tag me. If there is a trailer, tag the hell out of me when you see a trailer. Lastly, every week, Tal and I come here to do a podcast trying to share as much information from the mini comics to the cartoon to the movie to toys, merchandise, everything you can think of. And we're not saying we are the most amazing experts of Masters, but when it comes to two people that I guess you could say maybe have a great wealth of knowledge between the both of us, because there's things Tyler that he has very great expertise in, and as well as I do. But between us both, we have a fountain of knowledge. So you don't have to tag me when there's somebody that has, let's say, 20 to 100,000, close to 1 million subscribers on YouTube. That's just people that we like pop culture. And, oh, what am I going to do this week? Let me focus on a character from He-Man, somebody from the past, somebody that, hey, did you know this, and this about them? These are people that are doing Google searches, making a quick video, and then coming off looking like they're the experts in the epitome of Masters, when these are people that cover everything from pop culture that you can imagine. And this week, what's their choice? They're going to choose something from He-Man. And half the time, their information is wrong because they're just Google researching. Unlike Tyler and I and all of you that listen with us, we've absorbed this information. We lived it. We love it. It's our passion. It's not their passion. It's their random thing that they want to Google search, make a video, and they're an expert. And then I'll get tagged. Hey, Joe, did you know these are 10 facts about He-Man? Hey, did you know this about Hero or Skeleton or Eldor? It's like, yes, Tyler and I know that, and we probably know more of that. So we do this podcast so you don't ever have to tag me in any podcast of somebody saying, look at these 10 facts of He-Man or look at this background of a character. Believe me, I think Tyler and I know, as well as every one of you in this chat room and listening on whatever media, I'm sure you know 100 times more than these people. But I'll pass to you, Tyler. But those are just my three pet peeves of, you don't have to tag me on those. Tag me in everything else, but not those three things.
I feel like since you had the three, Tyler, I don't know about you, but I was thinking about the countdown of Botchamania with Hogan. Number one.
Yeah. Yeah. Number two. Number three. Botchamania fans will know what we're talking about. Anybody else?
Well, who is this YouTube chick?
I don't even know her name. I don't know her name. I just know that there was not only just this one girl, but there's been guys that's done as well. There's other people that like doing 10 facts you didn't know about He-Man, 10 facts you didn't know about the cartoon, 10 facts about it's God. And half the time, and I'm sure Grimbot can attest to this, he's seen it too. It's just quick Google research and stuff. It's nothing. They still don't have the facts right, and that's what drives me nuts. And that's all. And sometimes when they tag me, I always ask them like, do you know that I do a podcast? And some of them said, no, I didn't know that. I was like, here you go. And then some say, yeah. I'm thinking, well, God, if you don't want to do the podcast, I'm sure you should know. I'm sure I know these little facts. And that is not being arrogant. Every one of you guys here listening live and later, you guys know it too. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know why it gets to me, but those are the three things that drive me nuts for tagging. And I've been tagged in hundreds of other things. I don't care. Just let you know.
Are you sure you really don't want to narrow down that list? Because I've seen some of the stuff you get tagged in, and I'm like, Joe, you can't possibly. Why the hell did someone tag you? And I bought a new doorknob today, and I customized it. I better tag Joe in it.
Well, unfortunately, I get a
you
kick.
really want to encourage that kind of behavior, you know?
Well, sick enough, I do enjoy a lot of the international merchandise. I mean, no, that's not sick enough. I do enjoy merchandise, but sometimes I like seeing what people customize because I do customization. So I appreciate and I respect that. So when they want to say, Joe, check out a figure I made or check out a weird hybrid,
I took a
enjoy
local
that. I
Play-Doh
know
and slapped it on a beat up He-Man figure. I want $300 for it. You think I can get $300 for it, Joe?
no, that I don't mind, but those three things drive me nuts, and I don't know how much you get tagged. Excuse me, Tyler, but I didn't know if those are things that you've gotten tagged in before. When you see them, what you think of them. But I just had. Oh, and first, hello, Jeff Prime. But go ahead, Tyler.
Fortunately, I don't get tagged as much stupid shit as you do. But I mean, and I'm going to speak from the heart here. You know, the stuff that I talk about on this podcast, I spent years of my life in my personal time researching for the fun of it, researching because I was hungry and wanted to know more about the cartoons, the history of the toys, the voice acting, the comic books, who worked on this, what artists worked on that, because I just wanted to know for my own personal benefit. Being able to share it on a podcast was something it was a pipe dream essentially. So I do find it a bit insulting when people want to send you or tag you, or when I just see a top 10 bullshit list. Sci-Fi Wires, top 10 facts about the live action movie. Oh, look, another asshole. Here are the reasons why the live action movie bombed and the reasons why it almost bankrupted a company. Or, oh, look, here's top 10 facts you didn't know about the Filmation animated series, and or these other videos that are just popping up with some guy who just happens to have a budget around him sitting in front of a camera with some toys behind him, and somehow he's a damn expert on the humble beginnings of the line and how it got to this point and what destroyed the line. And like, dude, all you did is probably pick up a damn magazine, look at what figures came out in 1984, and just take camera shots of all the figures, make it look great because you have a good video editor or something like that, and somehow people just oh wow, he's talking about the toys that came out in 1984. How did he do it, man? I mean, I remember that toy. I wish I knew more, but obviously this guy knows everything because look at the production value. I'm sure people may have come across this podcast and saw that, oh, look how low budget this is. It's just three guys doing it in the comfort of their own home. They're not in the studio. They don't have the best sound quality. One guy's wearing a mask. One guy thinks he's big, tough shit. The other guy just drinks all the time or something like that, I don't know what people have thought about this podcast that have, may have seen it and just, this doesn't look polished.
The drunk, the buff, and the mask.
Yeah. So I don't know, but, and I know some people will just try to do the bare minimum, think, I'm a star because I'm doing a review of this book here, people, and I really don't know much about it. I didn't bother to read it here, but that's not what it's about here. It's about, I had this book. It's a He-Man book, and subscribe to me just talking about, I have a book in front of me, and it's from He-Man, and it's from the 80s, and it's cool. And so what I'm trying to say is I take it as an insult when people want to tag us and stuff that, like, dude, anything that just pops up in your Facebook feed took no effort to put together. These top 10s or some dipshit who wants to make fun of He-Man characters and some homoerotic say that He-Man's gay or fisting assholes and all this other stuff. You're not cute, you're not funny, and you're not clever, all right? And tagging Joe or me or Nathan, all three of us in it, I don't want to, I'm thinking a notification from Kevin or Axel or Joe or Nathan or Spike or somebody or Danielle, Val, somebody is contacting me about something. No, you just got tagged in some, dipshit, idiotic article that someone found on social media or something like that. There are people that clearly know more than us about a lot of this stuff. I put John Atkin, who's the top source of info on the live action movie, James Z Talk on the animated show, Danielle and Val, and the list goes on like a choice group of people that I'm like, they know more than I do, and but I like to think I know a whole hell of a lot. So for people to think that they're doing us a favor by tagging us in something, like, dude, any jerk off could look this up and find it. it's like we do this podcast to let you guys know there's more than just the basics, the bare minimums, which is what you find on social media, which is what you find on YouTube. These guys, they get popular for just stealing other people's info and just reading off a cue card of trivia facts, things you don't know about Fisto. And they'll just give you a list of things from a mini comic he was in, or what episodes he was in, or some bullshit there that, Fisto was close to being the live action movie. And Sam Elliott was going to play him, but I really based that on fact on absolutely nothing. And just kind of trying to pass off anything. And it's just, there's a lot
it's like
of
one of the videos. No, I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was going to say, like, one of them, for an example, when they were talking about some of these, things that He-Man has done, and they showed things from the cartoon to some of the comics, and this person, because they're grabbing random images or what might be popping up, hot on Google or wherever, actually took from Grimbot, from the upcoming The Return of Faker, showing Faker and He-Man, his Faker and He-Man going at it. They used it as one of the screen caps in their YouTube video. It's like, but they never mentioned this is an upcoming fan cartoon or nothing. They're just taking, hey, these are great images of He-Man, and don't even know what they're talking about when they show it. So they made no reference about this is an amazing upcoming fan cartoon. They're just grabbing stills and just doing a collage and plopping them together. So that's what I mean. It's just something that sometimes annoys me. Annoying, especially, is the heart and love that we try to put in this podcast of trying to share as much information with everybody as possible, and while having obviously a good time, and hopefully them telling us stuff as well and teaching us possibly in the chat room. That's what it's all about. So all this love and just the thought of just because somebody has became a big YouTube sensation by doing pop culture videos and sharing in every form of media possible, that they chose something that we love, and they're getting all these views and looked at as being experts when it's Google searching. It's like, I don't know. And I think that's when I felt like how you were just at that, some weeks ago when you had your burnout, and you were just like, damn, it's like we're doing this and it seems like we're barely reaching, not reaching as many people as we'd like to. And when I seen some of this stuff happening just about a week ago, when I was getting tagged, I was like, I almost had that slight burnout feeling you had, because I was like, damn, it's like they're getting like, 100,000 to 1 million views. And don't get me wrong, because I love and appreciate everybody that listens and watches us live. This means a lot. You guys are like, close-knit. We're a close-knit community. But sometimes I think, damn, it would be nice to reach more people. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so when you guys are watching these videos and tagging Joe in it or something, you're supporting these idiots to say, and telling them it's okay to cheat and bullshit and not actually know anything, but just, do a quick, I'll go to IMDb, just kind of read some random fact, or go to Wikipedia. Yeah, it's a lot quicker there. And put together a 30-minute video of some guy pretending to know something about this stuff. As much as I love Bionic 6, I'd be bullshitting myself to do a full episode in depth on Bionic 6, other than just talking about, I've watched a lot of the episodes. I know the main cast, but I cannot talk like in-depth mythology about it. And I guarantee there's going to be somebody on YouTube right now with production value and puts together some bullshit list of facts to make it look like this guy has a lot of knowledge, when all he did was just look up something real quick, and people just they become fixated on it and they're glued to it. And there's a lot of people in this community, I've named some of them already, who've made a great name for themselves by devoting their personal time and researching and digging for facts and posting it. Some of it may not be known, or some of it people have just not come across. And I feel like it's becoming a lost art and I blame that on social media, where everyone thinks they could be a damn star for doing literally nothing. You can showcase your child, caught out back eating dog shit. She'll show up on the Ellen DeGeneres show. She's a star. Now tell me, how did you get your daughter to eat dog shit? And she's a star. Her parents will get $1 million in the first class trip out to LA.
That's the culture now.
I know it's the culture, but I feel like,
I mean, look, most of the channels that are doing these things are also concentrating on other things, right? It's not like it's dedicated to one subject. It's here's all of this plethora of stuff that's here. And I guess when it comes to it, you have your people that want a lot of in-depth mythology, and then you have your people that are just like the bare minimum, scratch the surface. Just that info is enough for them to be like, oh, okay, yeah, cool.
But
Now,
also, I feel like they might think that list is in depth when it's not.
well, yeah, I totally agree with you on that point, but I'm just saying that the attention spans of people, I would guarantee you gravitate more towards that, which is why when you have something like this podcast, it is gravitating towards that other demographic of people that want to know more, that want to absorb more. You know, like it's just apples and oranges, and I don't mean to be like all devil's advocate on it or anything, or give them praise or whatever, but maybe that does go a long way. Maybe, you know, production value and the flashy shininess of that appeals to more people than something more like this. So it's kind of whatever you're looking for. It's just it sucks more for you guys, and I don't know if people like are kind of mad at me for even being on the show sometimes, because it's like what you guys are saying though, in terms of that, then like I am technically in a way kind of part of that, because I am not as in depth into this as you guys are.
But you're not doing this podcast by yourself.
Oh, I know.
And trying to, well, guys, I don't know anything about Zodak, but I'm going to tell you some interesting facts about what I found out about the character, you know, and then proceed to act like, you know, well, in this episode of He-Man, or in this mini comic, well, he wasn't in a mini comic. Well, I found that he was, and you just look up some fan mini comic and try and pass it off. So no, that's not the case at all. It's people who were, you know, you could just tell, you know, and with a lot of the stuff too, some people are all relatively knowledgeable, but you know, also I watch a lot of, you know, retrospects and things like that, but out of curiosity to see if people have something interesting to say. And a lot of times I can figure out, I think this guy just knows how to put together a great video, but he's not really taking time to actually do something that I feel like hasn't been shown a lot on the internet, that anybody could find on the internet, from by accident on YouTube or doing a quick Google search.
Yeah, but what you think is something that's not informative may be informative to someone else. That's what I'm saying. Like it's all
And I do not denounce that thought, because I feel like that might be the case at times, but I feel like for something, if some guy decides he wants to slam the live action movie, which you can throw a dart at the board and hit a random one that's on the internet, that guy will get a lot of feedback and views and comments and subscribers and things like that. And you're like, all this guy did was just read a bunch of damn facts on IMDb, put together in this nice shiny video. It's maybe 10 minutes long, and that's it. You know, whereas we've had guests who were involved in the movie and various other discussions on the movie. Nah, don't give a shit. You know, and it's just one of those things that's, you know, I don't know if we'll ever get over. You know, I mean,
yeah, and I was gonna say there's a couple things. I mean, first, you know, it's almost like what Nathan said. Sometimes maybe just the random quickest thing is what a lot of people like to see. But what I love at least about our hardcore, you know, listener base is I know they are the ones that want to hear it all. So that always gives me a good feeling on that. And quickly, Jason Jones, thank you for joining us. And also Markout Media. And Markout Media, I see what you mean. Now, Markout Media says, I want to quickly chime in. He says, I feel like the show has lost some of its charm due to pondering on the negatives. He said, early on, the show felt so much more light and fun. Well, it's the thing. I mean, we've always tried to keep it positive. But the thing is, if there's things that come up to where it's maybe something we kind of don't like, it's like there's no sense of ever sugarcoating to make it look like everything's good. If there's something, see, that's how people learn, even us. Like I said, I appreciate that, what you just said to me, and it's something I can take to heart. It's like when I do customs. I don't expect every one of my customs to be absolute perfection. If somebody gave me an honest critique saying, Joe, I think something within the way you sculpted this could have been changed, blah, blah, blah. If they gave a critique, how we do it, that's good. But if somebody just said, Joe, your custom shit, it sucks, it's garbage, and they don't give me anything to like go with, like, okay, but what do you mean? That's when you're just trolling. So
that's when you send out your goons to go and kill him and his family.
And that's it. I'll say, hey, how you doing? I'm gonna send this guy out here. I'll show you what a model's all about. Know what I'm saying? No, but the thing is, no, but honestly, that's the thing, is you can't always make it seem like whether it's a comic that just came out, and if there is something wrong with the story, don't just say, oh, well, this was great. I love that we're at least getting something. If you can just be nice, critical, and actually say something without insulting, but saying, you know what, I thought the story could have used this. It shouldn't have did that.
That's your part. That's not my part.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I know. But what I mean is,
let me tell this gentleman here. If that's what he's looking for, go back and look at our review of the very first issue of the He-Man Thundercats crossover. If you want polypractical mixed in with, if you think we're being a little too negative, the negative was going way back then too. So if you think it was just too negative now, you need to see more of the back catalog of episodes.
Right. Because the thing is, we usually always keep it fun because we're talking about the comics, the toys, the cartoon episodes, and we'll have fun with that. But if ever something comes up and I'm going to give an honest critique, it's called an honest critique. I won't just say it's great just to say it's great because, hey, we're getting figures or we're getting comics or getting this. No, it's because, like, let's say the quality was bad. Hypothetically, let's say the quality was bad, whether it was on the toys or a comic, and everybody said it was great. So when they're producing the comics or the toys and they keep making them, it's like, hey, everybody loves it. Let's keep delivering the same stuff. Then it could slightly downgrade in quality, whether it's a story or a toy or whatever it may be. But if you're getting honest critiques about something, they might take it to heart and say, you know what? I see where they're coming from. Maybe we could change something up with the story. Maybe we could change something up on the figure. That's why we do that. So it's not like we came on here or come every week to say, okay, let's just shit all over everything Masters. No, it's just critiques. And like I said, that's why I had to do the beginning thing is, it's like, I love, like when you guys tag me, I love it. Just 3 things I don't like. The Fisto thing, the thing about that damn movie that's been 18 years in limbo that drives me nuts, where I made the meme of Batman slapping Robin, with the new quote and everything. And of course, the stuff about the people that just do the less than stellar, what I'd say, things about, hey, look what's happening with He-Man, or look at the top 10. It's like, me and Tyler know this. So that's just 3 things. Otherwise, I keep it cool. But yeah, sometimes you lose your mind, but it's good. It's refreshing.
I'm just going to start tagging you in all 3 of those things from here on out.
Wouldn't it be it? Now that's it. I could picture, I'm going to end the podcast, and when I go onto Facebook, I'm going to see like 50 things of Fisto sitting there. I tried to fist them all, He-Man. And then the hammock thing where He-Man's in a hammock and Fisto's got his fist up He-Man's anus. I can just picture they're all coming.
I better not find out that people tag Joe and they think that it's cute and fun. I tagged him in it. JK Joe.
It's going to happen. Probably because I said it. But like I said, we keep it lighthearted with fun. But, like I said, me and Tyler, I've never wanted to where we ever completely agree on everything, or would just sound like me and him love every single thing and agree on everything. As you see, we have a lot of different opinions. And I'm sure when we get into this discussion on the double-edged sword for the cartoon versus the mini comic, I bet you we'll have different things to say there too. But that's what's good. I don't want us to be just all saying the same thing all the time and it just being perfect. There's got to be some fun and flavor.
I think that if the show was too positive, then it would almost be nauseating in a way.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's got to be stuff that like we're just either not going to like or we're going to disagree on or whatever. But how about a compromise, Joe? How about you guys out there listening? How about instead of tagging Joe directly in these things, just post it on the Fans of Power Facebook page instead?
Does that mean we're going to see? That'd be fine, but does that mean we're going to see a whole bunch of Fisto now? No, I know what you mean. But the tagging on a lot of things is auto tag, which, like I said, I don't care because sometimes I'm like, what the hell was that piece of merchandise? Because that's happened a lot.
Joe, I'm sorry about that. Are they doing it that much?
What do you mean? Where I get tagged all the time on Facebook?
You're don't be in getting auto tagged, like you're trying to retract the fact that people are voluntarily tagging you and all this.
Well, shit. I mean, someone did say in the chat that like it will automatically just Joe them on,
it is,
right? And they don't see it, and it's just done.
When it's happened with me, sometimes I'm like, okay, I've never even barely even spoken to them. I'm not, and I would just remove the tag and then post. If it does it, I will edit and remove it again. Like I'm not just going to.
There's a weird thing, believe it or not, Tyler. Sorry about that. I almost called you Nathan. But Tyler, there is one weird thing. There has been times to where somebody would post and honestly didn't know what happened because whether it happened with a tablet, a phone, whatever, it auto-tagged. And when they tried to take it off, they couldn't. And believe it or not, that happened to me. One time I did a post, and I just did it quickly. And when I went back, I was like, why the hell did that tag Axel? Axel Jimenez, our buddy who does that amazing art. It tagged him, and I was like,
to get on the podcast, damn it.
Yeah, and I was like, well, let me remove that. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I can't remove this tag. There was some weird way sometimes it posts, you couldn't take it off. So I had to completely delete the photo because I didn't want them tagged in some things. And it was a weird way I had to redo the post to where when it showed it then for him, I could exit off. Like I had to either put the picture first or the text first. But something happened to where I could take it off, but the other time I couldn't. It's bizarre. So yeah, I do get auto tagged a lot. Like I said, I don't care when it's master stuff. It's because I like seeing stuff masters. I just mentioned the 3 things today that I just don't want to be. If you guys are new to listening and was thinking about tagging me, that's why I said just please don't tag me in those 3 things. Otherwise,
I'm gonna find the Fisto picture and post it on mine. Just be like, hey, you guys, let Joe Amato what you think about this. Anyway,
yeah, but otherwise, I embrace anybody. And Justin Hune, thank you for joining us. But go ahead.
Well, I was actually going to say what he put here in the chat, and I agree with this.
Oh, go ahead.
And, you'll never satisfy all the people all the time. A balance of dark, light, funny, serious would be good for me. So
that's what we try to do. That's what we try to do when we're talking.
And we know that as well. We know on this show, any of the other shows we do, we're not going to please everybody. We might say some stuff sometimes and be like, and even looking back, we're like, yeah, okay, maybe we shouldn't have said something. But at the end of the day, it's out there. It's what we do. It's how we talk. It's who we are. Shit happens.
Yeah, Zen Brown. Yeah, because like right there, Zen Brown's poking the bear. He said, so, did we talk about Noelle Stevenson's fanfic yet? Because that's what came up about She-Ra. They said it's basically been called, I don't know if it was official or what. Again, it was something I didn't want to see because I just don't flip over the cartoon. But they said it's considered fan fiction or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but...
well, Joe, we both watched that entire season. Yeah. That's basically...
We watched the entire...
It's basically what it's like. It's just it's basically like Tumblr fan fiction. And
well, she even said, remember, in interviews, because they had her in interviews, she said she wrote something that she wanted to see and she hopes people would like, not what fans would want. So again, me and Nathan, we watched the whole season.
Ugh.
I just didn't enjoy it. If there's people that liked it, great. I didn't like it.
Yeah,
but if you guys like it, great.
If we're going to be negative, we're not going to attack people for if you like the show or if you liked a certain episode of He-Man or She-Ra and we thought it was terrible.
It's all good.
We have no agenda to attack people individually for liking a certain show. Believe me, I know there's people out there who shit all over the live action movie. I hold it in the highest of high regard.
It has its own Hall of Fame wing.
It does, for me personally. So I'm not going to go out and attack people because they say they don't like it.
Yeah.
But I also feel like most people who don't like it are just following the consensus like, oh, everybody says it sucks, so I'm going to jump in, so I'm part of the crowd and just say that too, because that seems to be the algorithm to piggyback off what Joe said.
Here's what we do. Here's what we do. We buy a studio space around here. We move Joe and everything our direction.
We'll get him a cot, and he can sleep in the back, and we'll get him some, McDonald's gift certificates and some Campbell balls.
Good.
That's what we do. We get to.
Ramen noodles.
Like Billy Bob Thornton and Sling Blade. We'll just give him a cot in the back of a garage, and he can fix shit for us.
Mustard and French fried taters. Yeah, shit, I'll be good with that.
Mm-hmm. We'll get a studio space. We'll all be. That's what. Honestly, that's probably what we need to do. We'll get a studio space. We can have a table there with 3 headsets, 3 microphones. We can all be in the same room, and we'll live stream. And We'll upgrade Joe's mask to like an actual like luchador mask, which I've actually thought about looking into.
Yeah, that would be great.
That's what we'll do. We'll just have to pull Joe away from parts unknown. His RoboCop land that he lives in, supposedly. We don't know.
Yeah, old Detroit.
Yeah, old Detroit. And
but
he goes like downtown at Clarence Bodiger game, just blowing stuff up all over the place and watching, I'd buy that for $1, and just hey, they pay attention. I could plunder this McDonald's, and no one would even care. There's no the cops are on strike, man.
He's like, wait, there's not like plexiglass in front of me that like I can't just reach over and grab it. Like,
I still can't believe it. You guys have never had a plexiglass. Wow. Okay.
No.
What about even at least gas stations? There's plexiglass from you to the people you give money, right?
Well, when they're out there in their own little individual like box, then yes.
But in the store, in the gas station store itself.
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I was put all together like on the old podcast Joe was on. He would tell people to here, eat real cheap for a week. Come on, guys, support the brand. Like Joe just thinks it's so easy to live like he does.
Yeah, I guess.
That you can eat out of a bucket, and go without water and utilities and human decency to help pay for this line here, people.
And for what you guys don't know, for what you listeners don't know, is when early when I was doing another podcast a long time ago, and I was actually able to afford and buy the figures, I always used to put on this spiel because I guess, Tyler, you're right. I would think
spiel. You were trying. It
was
you
life.
might as well have been like an evangelist.
Yeah.
Here, people. If you're listening to the car, I want you to place your hand upon your steering wheel here, and I'm going to pray that you will be able to make it this week without the Big Mac and get the Junior Big Mac this week to get this line paid for.
Let me tell them. Because you're right. This is how I lived almost all the time, and I was used to it. So I always said,
almost all the time.
If you want. All the time. Yeah, I still do. You're right. But I would always tell everybody, like, okay, now if you want to try to get the figure for each month, this is what you do. For 1 week, when you're going to work, instead of going out getting that Big Mac and that hamburger and all that stuff that you're charging probably $5-6 every day, and it's probably $30 right there at the end of the week, just have some ramen noodles. Set that off to the side. Avoid the Big Mac for the week or the day. And I said, and you'll have money for your figures. And I was like, oh, God. But me, it was easy. I would eat ramen noodles every single day. It was... I mean, that's what I do.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with any ramen noodles, but no, I'm kind of there in that boat because I see people that I work with either go out to eat or go to the cafeteria and pay like $10 for a salad, and I'm like, well, I just pack my lunch every day, and it's way cheaper. And they're like, oh, I should probably do that, and I was like, well, yeah, think about how much money you would be saving by doing that. So I get it, but that is kind of funny that you're like, hey, kids. If you eat ramen noodles every day, you can afford this new set of Master Classics from Manny Collector.
Yeah, I was figuring they could buy their figures. That was my way of trying to get people to watch, buy the figures if they just, kind of watch the budget. Emotional, thank you for joining us. Yes, we are talking Masters. We're just doing a little side Masters stuff, but it is Masters. We're going to get into the main topic. But go ahead, Tyler, if you had something to say before we start rambling.
No. It's just how.
Well, I mean, can you imagine if they pop in? They're like, "Oh, why is he talking about ramen noodles? What does this have to do with Masters?"
I'm trying to afford this PowerCon exclusive, so I'm going to go on a diet of just strictly ramen noodles and just kind of throw out everything else here.
You can do it. That's the way to do it.
And Joe would describe it as if it was so easy. People, I mean, come on, And what made this so great, I know we've discussed before, but I remember Danielle remembered this conversation that you would have and telling people to, eat out of a dumpster for only a month, people. I'm telling you.
And you can buy your He-Man figures.
And you can buy your He-Man figures. And I love to see Joe doing like infomercials like Sally Struthers with like a 1-800 number at the bottom of the screen. And Joe's like dumpster diving. And, like the Andy Dick skit, it was like a table for one here at this all-you-can-eat cafeteria. And he dumps into a dumpster. It comes out with like this tomato and this like greasy ass bag of throwing them at McDonald's. Free!
Oh man, big.
Oh yeah, he's already like fantasizing about that. What are you doing to him, man?
Yeah,
and he's like,
works.
Hey,
Any
guess
extra
what, guys?
food?
My ride's here, and guess what the price is? And he's holding on to the bumper. Free! And then just dragged off across the road.
Oh Jesus!
But yeah, it used to irritate me when Joe would do that. I'm like, you don't know how I'm struggling enough as it is with a full-time job to pay for these figures here. And Joe's telling me, eat less. Pay for less.
Eat less. Eat less. Buy more.
Live.
Hey! It's a good way to lose weight.
I
don't know. There is quite a bit of sodium though in raw. Like, were you just eating like? Was it like breakfast, lunch, dinner? Like three packs of ramen a day? How many packs of ramen were we talking about?
Well, it was just lunch and supper. But I would take that little packet of that seasoning that was full of sodium, throw it off to the side, and I would put 1 drop of hot sauce in it and just have hot sauce with the water noodles. Yeah. So that was it. That was my food.
Joe, Emily's been sick. Well, did she have any of that Insanity hot sauce? That would probably help.
Oh, clear up any of the
don't need modern medicine or like Dayquil and hot sauce.
It's like your answer to every issue is like, well, do you have any hot sauce? It's like aspirin for everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I took a crap and man, like my ass is really chapped. Well, did you put any hot sauce on it? No,
like,
you know what? I didn't think about that.
It's like Snake Oil. Like Joe's going on like a horse and wagon from town to town selling his hot sauce.
Dave's Insanity hot sauce. Yeah.
See? I can picture that. But Amational said that today was Super 7 Day. Got the Grayskull rug finally arrived, along with Ultimate He-Man and Skeletor and Fisto, Grizzlor, She-Ra Wave. That's pretty freaking awesome. And Zentron bought 24 cells from the original She-Ra coming soon. So that'll be cool. You have to share pictures in Fans of Power Facebook page. But well, I figured now let's transition into, I guess, our topics of the double-edged sword. We're going to talk about the cartoon versus the mini comic, and this is where Nathan will probably take a break for a while and then come back later.
Bye, guys. Have fun.
All right. So T-Rex, did you want to start off?
Now to the happy stuff here, people.
The happy stuff. But what do you want to do? Do you want to start off discussing a little bit of your thoughts on the cartoon first, mini comic, or what?
I just say in general they're both drastically different, and they really bear very, very little resemblance to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, the cartoon's superior because I think it really carries the title double-edged sword through the whole episode, whereas this, it just kind of feels like there was remnants of it, or kind of like you feel like they may have gone in that direction, but Leon, who's the young boy who wants to become a palace guard, whereas in the episodes Chad,
right,
Leon doesn't really learn a lesson other than everybody needs help.
Yeah,
that's the lesson. Whereas with the cartoon, Chad learns that
fighting isn't fun, and that there's death and consequence. Yeah.
That's why I kind of felt like, even though Double-Edged Sword, the mini comic itself, is a kick-ass mini comic, but getting the message across that Robbie London did in Double-Edged Sword, it's that's one of those things, and it's so unfortunate we can. Oh, by the way,
Larry DiTilio,
Yes. I hate that we did not start the show off. We started with Joe's bitching and ranting.
I guess I didn't want to start off with a sad note, but go ahead, yeah.
Oh, yes. So, for those of you who have not seen, the great Larry DiTilio passed away over the weekend, unfortunately. I'm not sure what he passed away due to. I'm sure Grimbot probably knows because James made the big post, and James had the good fortune of conversing with Larry since 1997 through email in the early days of the internet. And, people who were fortunate to make it to PowerCon to shake that man's hand, that's something I will never get to do. So I envy you even more for those who did get to meet him or at least converse with the man. So I'd like to take a moment to just devote this episode. Well, you know what? We will have to do a Larry DiTilio commentary maybe sometime soon, then, just to to honor that man in particular. But I just want to say I want to give thanks to Larry, and my thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family, and I want to thank him for everything he did for us, because he was quite aware of the impact that his work from Chakotay and Grandemir and the various episodes of Katrina. He had a lot of impactful episodes that we still talk about to this day and celebrate highly, and that he was aware of it. And I'm just glad he was aware that his work was highly appreciated and will forever be. So,
yes, yeah. Like I said, I guess I didn't want to bring it up at the beginning. I didn't want to start off on like a really sad note. I was almost going to say it to the end, but this is
people off. Don't tag me in this anymore.
First, let's get everybody fired up. Let's get them getting to this, and then mention. But no, it is very sad, and I didn't want to feel like I was doing some kind of shill thing, at the beginning, just mentioning that, just to say that, because it's horrible, it's terrible, and like I said, prayers sent out to his family and friends, and it's a very sad time. But yeah, he'll be missed, but all his stuff will live on. Well, of course, forever with the things he's done in cartoon.
You'll get celebration of his work on this podcast, not from some diva wannabe.
We'll give you some meaningful stuff. We will. We'll give you some meaningful stuff.
We may not get the views, but damn it, man, we're gonna make sure we give you something that all these other wannabes will never ever have the balls to do, or the time, or the intelligence to do. So.
Yes, so we'll try. But no, the double-edged sword, like I said, with the cartoon, I remember like you said, the comparisons of this to the mini comic, the only thing is with a grandfather and a grandson. That is the only similarities. And yes, with either Leon or Chad, with both wanting to be Eternian guards, different ways, though, of wanting to become it. But I guess memorable things that I could say that, at least from the cartoon, that you see is, you find about Eternium being the strongest metal because this is something that's generating, I guess, the power for the whole planet. At least that's how it sounded in the cartoon. I might have took that wrong, but it made it sound like that was a power source that when it fizzled out, the whole planet would basically shut down, or I just might have heard that kind of wrong in the cartoon.
I think they kind of overhype it to add some extra intensity because it's powering the royal palace. So
right.
Yeah, so I imagine it's probably powering all of Man at Arms equipment, a lot of the fuel sources for the vehicles and various other things, but it just means it's a precious commodity and it powers a great deal. So yeah.
Okay, because I was like, you're right. I didn't know if it was like you said, how they kind of overhyped
Yeah, I mean,
it,
they're just going to throw out a little extra to kind of spice it up for the kids to kind of show a little more severity to it. So,
but you're right. Within this episode, you do get a lot of action. You do see the grandfather, which in the cartoon was he ever name checked? Because I don't remember his name. I just thought he called him grandfather.
His name's Eldon, but I think it's mentioned maybe once. It's because if that.
Because I didn't even remember.
Right. I had to because
James.
James's book is where I had to double check on that one. Because for the most part, he's just referred to as grandfather. Or when He-Man's talking to him, he says, "No, I know how you feel." Like he doesn't actually say his name. So
okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. I was just trying to double check.
Eldon is his name, though.
All right. Well, thanks for that bit because I never knew it because I was like, I just didn't remember his name in the cartoon. But he's in some kind of like hover chair. I'm sure that has another name as well. Jet chair. Yeah. Thank you. So he's in this, and he never told his grandson of how he got in it. His grandson never even knew that he was a soldier and that he used to do battle. Of course, until when he finally seen him use that scatter ray the one time to knock back that spider sword, because he didn't even want to do it against that thing. He didn't want to shoot at a living creature, but he shot around it. But I know he shot when I screwed up. Merman and Trapjaw were in what's the vehicle again? The Basher or what? The Basher, okay,
Basher, yeah.
And he had a good ass shot, he's a good shot. So, but then later, he hears the story from his grandfather that when he was battling orcs years ago, and when he was using that scatter ray and shooting at them, the foundation of some kind of like rocks and structure came down, crushed his legs, and paralyzed him. And you're right, the message you got from war is, Chad the whole time is thinking it'd be great. I'd love to be a guard and do battle like He-Man and other heroes, but to know that there's consequences, it's not really as fun as you would think. But within the story, like I say with the Eternium, I think that one of the memorable things for me that I always got a kick out of was when Trapjaw ate that, because Trapjaw had the idea, if I eat that, I might be as strong as He-Man. I remember being scared and freaked out when Trapjaw bit that and ate, and when his eyes glowed, and you did see the extra strength he had, and how he was just throwing boulders with his one arm. I was like, the great part to me, I think, was when they were falling down, when Trapjaw and He-Man are falling down into the water, and you hear the rumblings, and boom, you see He-Man get blasted out and just flying like he got hit with, a missile. And I was like, Trapjaw did that? So for me, it felt like it was a time that Trapjaw got
out of the water, like very defiant, and just kicked He-Man's ass. Like,
it is, and with those glowing eyes, it makes it that more intense that he's like super powered. But for me, it was like the shining moment for Trapjaw. I felt like this is a really good Trapjaw, episode. We know it wears out later, but you got to see him do something, and you got to see He-Man getting taken to task. He's going head to head and toe to toe with somebody that's matching him, and it lasted a good amount of time too.
Yeah, it was something that wasn't just a quick throwaway. It was actually a pretty good little fight. But it's a lot packed in this episode because you've got the introduction of the new characters, Eternium, getting Merman and Trapjaw into the story, and then Burby getting sick, and which is a nice tender scene with He-Man taking them there, opening the drawbridge and willing to step in and
that too. Really, not to cut you off, but really quick, that was, I don't know how many times it was name dropped, but to hear of something called the Chamber of Life that could, heal him. But, it would have to be a mortal that walked in because the sorceress couldn't because of her magic. It could have disrupted her or something. But was that Chamber of Life ever used again? Because I thought that was kind of interesting to hear something different like that.
I almost want to say, like, there's a lot of those, like, season 2 episodes, like, latter half that I don't have memorized that well, and they may have used it at random. But as far as I know, no. Just something that was kind of written for the episode, just kind of this one-off, which you could buy that Castle Grayskull's got an ungodly amount of mysterious things that you could say in one episode it has this, another episode has that, because it's Castle Grayskull.
The Secrets of Grayskull, yeah.
Yeah, Fortress of Mystery and Power for He-Man and his foes, as I'm looking at the box over here to my right.
Spelled with an A, Grayskull. But
Yes.
yeah, that's mine. Well, go ahead.
But yeah, is it just granted the mini comic can only give you so much, and honestly, I think the mini comic needs to be based more on action anyway. You know, the mini comics are to help sell the toys and to help. It's just a nice bonus to like, hey, look, you know, because this came with Cobra Khan. Like, I think that was the this, even though he's only unfortunately, that was something I wish Larry could have answered that. I don't think we asked him, but I don't know
because we were good. Yeah, because you're right. Because Cobra Khan was going to be excited about using his, like Venom breath against Teela, but we didn't.
But he's
get
only
to
in 2
see
panels,
that.
and that's it. 2 panels. That's it.
Yeah.
He's not featured again.
That's the only highlight. The highlight of this mini comic is basically Larry Houston's art, because it's beautiful, especially like at scenes where, because in this mini comic, of course, it's focusing on these vine monsters that Skeletor has created, some vine monsters he's going to take over, and of course, Consul Ari, he's coming to bring the message from the Golden Isles to warn King Randor of this attack that Skeletor is going to do, and of course, within all this, you see the boy at one time, Leon, getting captured by a vine monster, and then He-Man, cuts the thing, and then that's when he meets Consul Ari. And later, as it goes, Beastman captures Leon. They do this little trap where they capture He-Man, put him in a pit, and then Skeletor seals it off with a blue crystal magic. And He-Man, does this leap to where he tries to get out and can't. So he calls to Rayman, and this is the part where I thought it shined for at least a scene of showing how we always say Larry Houston's art tells the story, is when you see Rayman going up to come down and He-Man go, and when they hit at the same time to break that seal, I thought that was one cool ass scene in panels.
Yeah, to show the momentum, like Rayman clenches his fist and he's leaping, and you can see the momentum from his legs bouncing off the ground. It looks like a rocket taking off. He just illustrates the speed and momentum and power of Rayman in these 2 panels, but they come with He-Man's leaping up. So was Rayman, and they're both coming. I mean, it's just he just illustrate. He clearly gets it and trying to illustrate the strength of both these heroes.
Yeah,
and it's just one of those things where I do kind of feel like with this that Cobra Khan was probably like a last minute addition to this book.
You know what? And I could just to put it in, and like you said, maybe because it came with this figure, possibly.
Well, I mean, yes. If you look up Cobra Khan on eBay, and that's the mini comic that came with my Cobra Khan when I got him for Christmas. So
maybe he was told just to draw him in, just to get him in, since that was the mini
probably
comic.
So because Web Store came with Temple of Darkness, and he's featured prominently in Clash of Arms, but he didn't come with Clash of Arms. Which, even though this is a small side rant, I've often wondered the placement of the mini comics sometimes didn't quite make sense with some of the figures. Like I think starting in '84. They would just search for Secret Liquid of Life comes with Whiplash. There's not a single member of Skeletor's gang in that mini comic. It's just one of those things where Whiplash is featured that Clash of Arms has got everybody. That was in '84 except Cobra Khan. So I just kind of feel like that should have been a given, and then everything else just kind of a random book that came with, or there's no mini comic for Battle Armor Skeletor and He-Man. So therefore, Double-Edged Sword or Temple of Darkness would have made more sense, I think, for placing.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, because it has nothing to do with the story, but here's a mini comic to go with it.
It's almost a surprise we didn't really get any stories about the battle armor or something. That is kind of a surprise.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising that we did with Thunder Punch and Flying Fist and Terror Claws and Hurricane Hordak and Buzzsaw Hordak, but the battle armors, which is a very, very well-known variant and beloved variant. Never got a mini comic.
No, I guess the only thing they got really was a lot of cool poster, puzzle art, coloring book art, other art, like they appeared in that. Yeah. But you're right, nothing for the mini comics, story origins, or anything. So, and which would have been good. But this, it's something that I kind of like. At least
3 panels. Excuse me, Cobra Khan's in at least 3 panels here. I'm looking at another one here, and I forgot.
Oh, 3
to the side here. Yeah. So.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes so I can avoid someone tagging me in a correction or something like that later.
Yeah, that was going to be your tag for the day. But
I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yep. For me, at least as now as adult, this mini comic, while the art is great, like I said, I don't really enjoy the story as much as the cartoon. I in fact would have even loved, could you picture in a perfect world if Larry Houston was to illustrate the cartoon episode into a mini comic with his style. God damn, I mean, that would be freaking awesome, because this story just something felt rushed and out of place. Like, even for me, I always felt Skeletor controlling these plants. Like, I think Evil Seed would have been an awesome character to be in a mini comic controlling the plants. Like, that could have been his story. Something felt funny to me. But I mean, I guess the only I don't know. But
no, I mean, I'm totally behind, like, because at this point too, like, I wouldn't see Evil Seed till I was in high school and rented the. Oh, damn it! I'm losing my audio.
Yep.
Sorry about that, people.
There you go.
I didn't see Evil Seed till 11th grade, or 10th grade maybe. So when I saw this, like, to me, it was just like I could completely see Skeletor in charge of man-eating plants. Like, anything that causes destruction, I'm like, I'd buy it, no matter what it is. Rock warriors to man-eating plants to bears, beasts, and creatures and demons summoned to Skeletor's bidding. He is the Lord of Destruction. So anything that brings destruction, I buy it. So I will say this, like, in revisiting this mini comic, Leon is another character that I would love to see, like, an up and coming palace guard that would accompany, the heroic wars and various missions as a he's if Tila is the captain of the guard, Leon I'd like to think over time would become, like, if Tila's away, Leon steps in as the substitute palace or captain of the guard if Tila is off duty or taking on a mission, outside the palace or something like that.
Yeah,
just because it's just furthering the ranks and expanding the universe. Because I just looking at this, I'm like, and that's what was so great about Larry wanting to add ethnicity and making Gar Native American and Prince Dagon to be black and Geldor black and Leon and his grandfather are Asian. Like, not doing, it's just doing it to just. Why not? They're not given any kind of ethnicity, so why not make it different? And to have, I think it would be pretty cool to have an older Leon as if not a palace guard, maybe someone who really wants to fight alongside the heroic warriors and trains and works hard. And I don't know, it's kind of like Prince Dagon, because I always like to look at Prince Dagon as someone that would accompany He-Man on various missions, not like how Mossman and Cyclone and Clamchamp would, but at times, you would see the Prince Dagon and He-Man team up based on the situation or something like that. And
because you don't picture that. Because you don't really see much about the Eternian guards, palace guards, anything really like that. Like you said, what if they did have, like you said, you're expanding upon the universe, a little bit of the story in the future, a couple of years later, and you have two guards that are teamed up that work together to do some battles, and it could have been Chad and Leon. What about a weird combination? One's a hothead, which would be the Chad, and the more focused Leon, and they got to balance each other out. God damn, I think we got to have Larry Houston make a mini comic on that, a little older version.
Yeah, I like that because I liked, because I mean Chad was a good character, and that's the character that could have been easily just oh god, obnoxious as hell. But I think putting those two together as young teenagers, going through training and then learning quickly, what it takes to be a palace guard and actually taking on a small horde invasion or an attack from Tongue Lasher and Squeeze. And it's just the two of them to stop them from stealing this from a royal palace transport or something like that. I think that's an interesting concept in itself to expect, I tell you, Joe, just when you just kind of feel like it's unfortunate that these minds of ours,
we're doing it again.
Untapped power.
Yeah, that's what I said, when we start spitballing, we start making up these stories, but it comes right on the fly, and it's always great for one-offs. Like I always said, you don't have to have constant continuity to do something.
No.
It's good at times, but one-offs just make for great, interesting, memorable stories most of the time, it seems like. But that's why we talk about some of the mini comics and the cartoons. Always these great one-off, interesting, rich stories. It gets you more excited wishing that Larry Houston could draw more, or between you and I with the thoughts we have, and then possibly people drawing some more fanfic mini comics. It keeps it alive, like I said, with nothing going on. It's like, this is the way to keep Masters of the Universe alive.
Well, it's pretty much going to be left up to fans to keep the stuff going anyway, because of anybody with any brains at Sony, It's not going to give us anything worthy of entertainment. DreamWorks is not going to, or whoever's in charge of the animation with He-Man at this point, I don't know. And you know what? I'm not going to pretend to know. And you know what? I don't care to know because it ain't happening right now. So it doesn't really matter. But they're not going to put people in charge who look at this stuff and realize the untapped possibilities with just pulling stories from the mini comics or capturing things that was in the Filmation cartoon. That's a really good idea. We could really expand upon that. It's just everyone trying to come up with their own bullshit and nonsense. And that's why I'm like, stuff doesn't need to be made up from scratch. Like, you've got so much to work with here. You've got
we have over 30 years.
Yes. And you're like, you don't need to go along and change the mythology because I just don't like any of this stuff, and just consider yourself the Messiah of resurrecting this.
They don't. You're right. It's like they don't have to think too hard because there's over 30 years of rich history from the comics to the cartoons to any other the mini comics, the storybooks. There's so much. You don't have to think about what can I create. It's already there, and I use some of that and try to make a new interesting story. But you don't have to keep twisting everything. And quickly, Sportimus popped in, but I think is leaving. So thank you for joining us, and we will get your question when we get to that question part of it. So thanks, Sportimus, for popping in. But yeah, you're right. It's like we have all this rich history that they could touch and expand upon any of it. It's like I said, that's why I think sometimes fans should have some way of being part of projects. Now, I'm not saying every fan, because some people say, well, some fans have some weird interpretations of things. But when Nathan and I did the Beyond Retro episode of Never Hike Alone, when I said that was a fan who did a story of Friday the 13th and the mythos of Jason. It was made by fans, for fans, and you could tell it was a great made movie. If you haven't seen that on YouTube, look up Never Hike Alone. It's a great fan movie of Jason Voorhees. But you could just picture sometimes that people didn't know Jason. They're like, okay, we penned this guy because he's a great director or a possible writer. Do a Friday the 13th story. And some might have said, I've never watched any of those movies. Maybe I'll watch one just to get an idea. And they do it. It's like they don't have the feel, though. You do honestly have to feel and know the stuff. Just picture like you and I, James Etok. Could you picture just trying to shoot and spitball some stories if they wanted for whether it was a cartoon or a movie? Man, we would hit them with so much shit they wouldn't know what happened. But you'd get something from love because we want to give proper justice. Like they deserve so much better treatment, these properties, and the possibility of the movies. That's the only reason, like I said, we always say this. And when we start hitting live things, like I said, on the fly, creating stories, that shows we have some love here, that we could do it that quickly. God damn. So many things I'd love to see.
Yeah, there's so much more outside, He-Man and her arms, and Skeletor and Beastman. Like, there's much more to this property. And unfortunately, that's why I just feel like you guys are not taking advantage of, not you guys, people who listen to this, but the people out there that are casual fans of He-Man, but don't make. Are you casual for Star Wars and you casual for Transformers and G.I. Joe and Turtles also, knowing full well there's a vast array of heroes and villains, but you just choose to, just Skywalker and Vader. That's it. Like, none of the bounty hunters, none of the various, heroes from the other planets and vehicles and stuff. What about Turtles? Well, I think Mikey's pretty funny, but what about Ray Fillet, Panicon, Leatherhead, Casey Jones? Not Usagi, because he's not technically a Turtles character. Triceratops, Slash. No. It's like, why do you deprive yourself of this stuff? That's why when me and Joe are looking at this, there obviously are more stories to be told than just strictly He-Man stopping Skeletor. I mean, just the idea of putting Leon and Chad together and say, I think that's a brilliant idea. I think it's a wonderful idea. And just use them and the already established, villains, and put these young boys in a situation where there's no one else to help. I mean, it's just a shame that we can spitball all these ideas. You can put them on paper, but unfortunately, we're just not. Maybe someday with somebody.
It would be a dream. It's something that I would love to do because I'm sure we have tons of stories already running through both of our heads right now, not including what we do when we do this podcast and it comes live. in anything. Sometimes you give us something and bam, we could just run with it. Hell, that's something that we could even do. Maybe one time we'll have that with fans, like in one of these episodes, say, okay, give us a scenario, give us something, bam, and we'll try to create a story right there on the spot, live again, from beginning to end during the show. Just us going back and forth.
I would be up to that challenge. I would. But
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah.
Don't just do something to be cute and funny and think, make something silly. Like, no, I take this stuff seriously. Like, I take my He-Man stuff very seriously. I very little do I ever like to joke about this stuff. So if we were to issue this to fans or listeners, give us a serious scenario or like a couple of characters, innocent or something like that, and see if we can come up with it. Don't try to be cute and funny and all like, He-Man memes and, Prince Adam with rainbows and shit like that. So,
yeah, and we'll see if they can.
I won't entertain that, but yes, I think that's a good idea.
All right, we'll have to remember that for an upcoming episode. We'll have to see if we can have everybody do it. But, well, that's the comparison. Like I said, we did between the mini comic and the cartoon for Double-Edged Sword. If you guys haven't seen the episodes, you can catch it on YouTube. If you haven't read that mini comic, you can go to heman.org to read it. And eventually you can buy that big-ass mini comic collection, just read them all and absorb it. But that's our comparisons. So now, before we wrap it up, I was going to say, if you guys have any questions for us in the chat room, be sure to shoot it to us right now. And while you're typing in your questions down for us, I'll pass it to Tyler if he has any recommendations for any episodes, cartoons, or things that he has going on, or if he knows of people that have things going on. Go ahead, T-Rex.
Not projects or anything to plug. I'm hoping that last week's episode with Kevin got him some more business. I've heard of one person who has reached out to him, and I hope that works out. But I also certainly hope he drew a lot of attention his way, and he's got commissions lined up, and I hope that was very beneficial for him and getting his name out there. But recommendations, Double-Edged Sword is a fantastic. If you liked our discussion on this, I recommend going back and checking out our interview with Robbie London, who penned Double-Edged Sword. So we got to talk with him a little bit more in depth about that episode. It's available on our YouTube channel, and available for download as well. Episodes, I haven't done a recommendation in a while. I probably will say She-Demon of Phantos, just as a random episode. Okay. If you haven't watched him in a while, and you just want to kind of watch something to kind of pique your brain a little bit and kind of spark your interest again or something like that, watch She-Demon of Phantos, man. We got Lizard Man and Strongarm in the same episode. And Queen of all creepy and shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, that could lead to hopefully maybe one day a cool-ass figure with some dual different heads that we could have for her.
Oh, creepy-ass kind of... Yeah, that's something, yeah. Now, if they were to throw that in a Filmation sub, Super 7, even if it was just like, oh, look, it's another Man-at-Arms variant. Oh, look, this one's covered in mud. Remember the episode? He's covered in mud from Dawn of Dragoon. And they just make him brown.
Yeah. Yeah, we need a figure of Queen Elmora with the alternate heads,
yes.
the creepy ass older looking one, and the younger beautiful one. So that would be a cool figure. But good recommendation. Yeah, definitely one they should watch. But well, I'll hit what we can get in the chat room, and Nathan is joining us because I'll get to one question I seen earlier, and if I missed others, sorry, but I'm gonna get to an early one. Sportimus did because he had to head out. So Sportimus said, do you, Joe, Nathan, Tyler, prefer Tila or Frosta to hook up with He-Man? He says, did you ever have a preference? Well, that went my thing. I was going to say Frosta. As a kid, when I was watching, I was just wanting action adventure, never really thought of it. But no, if I was to think of it, yes, Frosta. They definitely seem like they had some chemistry or a moment that should have happened. Damn He-Man. But go ahead, Nathan.
I mean, as long as he's getting it, right?
He's like, I don't know, I don't care. One of them, I guess.
Frosta's clearly hotter, man. A chick with blue hair and blue lips and everything.
All right,
man.
yeah. We'll go ahead.
Plus, she's even though she is an ice princess, she doesn't act like one. Tila acts like the ice princess, sandy vagina and all.
Okay.
Not that I'm saying I would turn away Tila either, and like Tila, no, I would. But if you're gonna rolling the hay more frequently with one of them, definitely Frosta for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was.
I'm sure some fan fiction exists somewhere, right?
Sure, don't look it up, but I'm sure. sure it does. Okay, Grimbot says, "Oh, Grimbot, you know mine. I'll say it quickly, but what's your opinion on Netflix Bo constantly shitting on George DiCenzo's Bo?" That's the thing I said I didn't like. I didn't like that. Marcus Scribner it was in many videos when they were doing the promoting the upcoming She-Ra Netflix cartoon at the time. But in every interview, instead of just trying to promote the cartoon and being proud of it, he honestly did piss on the original Bo. They said, "Oh, what's your thought of the original, Bo? Did you do any research?" And he literally said, "I watched a couple clips." So that's all he's seen of Bo was a couple clips. He says,
"Here's a top 10 list of my favorite moments."
But listen, this is what he said. He's like, and that Bo was like, "She-Ra, let's go save the villagers." And I was like, when the hell did Bo ever say that line and say it like that? Please find me this clip and how he said it. Like, I was like,
demeanor of these assholes who are putting these videos together. The same people who, this guy's getting paid to play the part of a beloved character,
and he pisses. And he pisses. That's what you don't.
Well, that's the thing. Also, respect the past, because without that, he wouldn't have had a job.
That's what I.
So don't do that. Why do that?
Agreed. That's what I said. If you're promoting the new cartoon, just promote the new cartoon. Be proud of it. You can do it without pissing on the original by making fun of the animation, the stories, the voices, how they were doing. It's like, that's very unprofessional. When they had the new MYP cartoon come out, you at no point seen them talking about the original cartoon like it was crap. That's what annoyed me. So no, I don't like how he did that. I was like, you're doing a voice, be proud of it, but definitely research this character and this role and listen of why he speaks in the way and tone he does. And it's a world of fantasy. It's not Earth, so he's not going to be like, what? And that's cool. It's like, no, this isn't Earth. It's a fantasy world. And they have a certain kind of bravado or confidence in ways certain people speak in certain roles. But thank you for bringing that up, Grimbot, because yeah, that was very disrespectful. It's not needed to promote something. Promote your cartoon, be proud of it, but don't piss on the original, because just like Nathan said, if it wasn't for the original, you wouldn't have the cartoon now.
So I would love to walk past that guy and be like how Arnold was in Terminator 2, where he takes that security guard and just slams the guy's head against the wall. I would just love to do that to that guy right now.
Well, I think Grim 2 had made mention, I think maybe it had been backtracked, but there was some talk of maybe those guys had been announced for PowerCon. So I guess now we got to go, right? We show up and be like, "Hey, buddy."
I'm not going to slam PowerCon because our buddy Val, I'm sure, will come on and join us. So
that's the thing. I think they went back on
and confront them there or something. So,
well, I just if that turns out to be true and that is the case, and any of those guys show up there, I can't imagine how that would pan out exactly.
I think, what I think, Nathan? I think they're going to be quite different. They're going to know they're in a realm of passionate Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power, New Adventures fans, and that kind of way they were speaking at random sci-fi conventions and this convention, it won't float at PowerCon. If they dare say that, I think fans will speak up like, why are you saying that? And I'd hope that they would address that, like, do you see where you're at? Do you see this world of fans that have kept this property alive for over 30 years? And then through websites and Facebook groups, it's like, we're passionate. So I hope they wouldn't disrespect fans at PowerCon. That'd be a nightmare.
No, yeah, I just pictured it'd be like John Cena at One Night Stand when he went against RVD that year. But Grim 2 had said, made an error, no announcements yet, mixed up some stuff. But
okay, but we'll see.
The possibility of that does exist. So hypothetically,
it does.
I would hope that if they were to be announced and showed up, I would hope that maybe their mindsets have changed a little bit.
They better be.
Yeah, I would. If they were smart, that's what they would do.
There was a lot of pissing on the original, so definitely respect the original stuff, the source, and what got you there. We'll hope.
No, they'll come and act clueless, like, "Oh yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, I watched something." Like they're going to give you that kind of horseshit answer. Yeah,
we'll see.
If they're announced, I guess I'm dragging Tyler, and we're gonna go out. We're gonna go out to Anaheim, and we'll have Tyler.
That'd be an interesting thing to see.
What'd you say? And he's like,
Nathan's holding him back as they're trying. He's going up there.
Oh yeah, like I could do that. Yeah, okay.
He's latched on his back like a monkey or something, and Tyler's just walking with him as he's running up to the power con panel.
Nathan's next to me acting like Flavor Flav. Yeah, boy, can you believe the shit they said about He-Man and She-Ra, man?
Yeah,
he would be
honestly,
I'm just sitting there like cracking my knuckles and doing some push-ups to warm up, and I'm just ready to start cracking skulls. And
yeah, Nathan, I could tell he probably was the instigator in school to start the fights. Like, hey, did you hear what he said? Did you hear what she said? I bet you he did do that probably a lot.
Yeah, I still do it.
And he had like a big clock hanging around his neck at all times too, man. It was unbelievable.
It's
like Joe, you thought you were black, man. You had nothing on Nathan in high school.
Good God.
Oh my God.
Where's that going? Right. Anyway.
Well, let me go to.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Zentron has a movie quote. I know this one, Zentron. He says, I'm the one you should be listening to. He says, do you think dropping the anchor in the middle of a storm makes any sense whatsoever? Yes, that was from Friday the 13th, Part 8, and Jason Takes Manhattan. I know that one, so definitely, I got that. All right, let's scroll down a little bit. Grimbot said, oh, yes, we'd love to see Queen Elmora. He says, and those fat guards. I don't even remember. Were there some guards that were bigger or fat?
I'm sure there was fat people all over the place, and,
Oh, I just actually...
all kinds of,
I didn't remember. If they made them great, that's awesome.
Well, Joe, I'm sure at some point both of you guys, your brains got fried, or your brains actually floated out of your skull, and you're just kind of just sitting there watching it.
Huh.
Your brain goes and takes a shit. And,
accurate.
My brain,
some fresh air.
My brain goes a lot. It does. My brain is usually gone. But Descendants of Grayskull says, hey guys, you were mentioning earlier about a life chamber in Castle Grayskull. He said, what rooms would you have in your castles? Gosh, no,
Joe would have a sex swing. There would be
for a lot of fisting, right, Joe?
a room with cheap food, lots and lots of
unlimited McDonald's. I would have an arcade. I know Tyler would have a fire pole somewhere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Fire pole's got to be installed.
If he means an actual, like in real life reality, something like, oh God, rooms. Yeah, how great would it be just to have your own kind of gigantic, first like cinematic
I
room
know,
to where
talking about Chamber of Life, and like if we, I don't know, Michael,
elaborate.
Elaborate on that. We'll answer for, but be more elaborate.
I think it's funny that the first thing that Joe's mind goes to is he's just like perversion and free food
and food. It goes together. I'd say when a girl she gets me food, I'm just that's it. That's all it takes. You feed me, I'm like I'm happy to go.
I want a slice of pizza in one hand and a greasy hooter in the other. That's Joe.
Yes, when he's dying. Yeah, Al Bundy on his dying bed. Yeah, his deathbed. Oh my God. Okay, Fedmont said Queen Elmora is going to need alternate heads and hands because she also had claws after Skeletor changed her. Yeah, if they could have some alternate hands and stuff, definitely agree. Mational said, was it Tila or Frosta or Tila or Fisto? Yeah, Mational, I think they meant Tila and Frosta, definitely. See, poking. Try to poke Mational. Zen Brown, Super 7 to make the mud-covered Beast Man first. Let's see. Grimbot said, Nathan, what about frostbites? You didn't think of that, did you? What's frostbites? Well, I don't know if he meant anything perverted. Let me scroll down. Hold on. I just want to see if I missed some. I want to see if I can get to any other questions because I know how I got behind when I was doing that.
Well, I know that Emotional said I can't be the only one who would like to see Nathan grow a full beard and wear one giant metal glove. Trust me, if I could grow a beard, I would, but I can't. This is as good as it gets. It's lame. It sucks. I hate it.
Let me see. I don't know if I missed any because my chat, I don't know if I had live or top, so I might have missed. Oh, wait.
What is it with you doing this? You've done that twice now.
I don't know. It's my way of. Remember, I'm half Italian. I like talking with my hands.
Are you a raptor or something now? What happened?
No, that's the chat going up and down. Let me see. Descendants of Grayskull said more to do with the secrets of Grayskull. He said, what special power rooms would you guys have? Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, that could be something that there would be like if I wasn't He-Man, didn't have the power of Grayskull, but what if there was maybe a room that could possibly give you like certain kind of outfits with special powers, or it could increase your strength, maybe some weird room like that. I don't know. It's weird. I like being put on the spot because there's so many crazy things. What if there's rooms to view everything all across Eternia? Unlike Skeletor, who's always looking through his dome, that always catches certain things, but never sees Prince Adam turned into He-Man. But I know, of course, that's just because writing's sake. But I used to think as a kid, Skeletor's going to see Prince Adam change one of these days. I always thought that was going to happen because he would see everything in his little dome right there in his room. But I don't know, maybe something to see all across Eternia, not perverted reasons. It's not like I'd be peeking in on Tila change. Wouldn't peek as Tila's changing and stuff like that. But
he got
I
like
don't know.
spaghetti sauce dripping down his mouth. Oh wow, look at him. Yeah.
Look at that. Go ahead. What about you, Tyler?
Sex rooms all around.
Probably, I mean, an energy boosting room, I guess, so to speak. Like He-Man's out there defending, eventually, He-Man's going to get tired at some point. So it'd be nice to have a room where if you can hold everybody off, let me run into this chamber of power, energize the power sword and myself, and run back out and then kick everyone else's ass, or something like that. Yeah, something like that probably be kind of cool.
All right. Well, Jesus. Okay. Well, I think I got pretty much everybody in the chat room most of the questions. I'm sure I probably missed up, so sorry if I did. But before I wrap it up and thank everybody, I just want to say remember to like and subscribe and ring that bell to always get notified for any new content. In case you're new to this channel, just make sure you do it. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Always new content. And everybody that's joined us here in the chat room, hope you enjoyed us, even with the crazy little rain at the beginning. Like I said, it's refreshing. It's different. I know it's something people don't like all the time, but it happens once in a while. But we always try to keep things fun and positive. But once in a while, yep, you got to just blow off a little steam, say
we
something.
We are human here, people, just like you guys are human too, so...
Yeah, so it happens, and I'm sure I'm going to be going to Facebook, seeing a bunch of fistos now, and I probably did that to myself. We'll see. But any closing things?
This way, if you're listening to this, if you respect Joe, you'll at least honor him and not be cute and not do that.
Abide by the cult of Amato.
Yeah.
Praise it be Big Macs and dumpsters.
Yeah, otherwise you won't get, when they're doing communion and no camel balls and Kool-Aid for you.
Yeah, what is it? It'd be like for this, it'd be Big Macs, nuggets, fries, and shakes. So that's my sign of McDonald's right there. But guys,
as Ronald McDonald, gritty peoples that lead the church and everything, handing out Happy Meals to the kids.
Yeah, little pamphlets. Yeah,
giving
some things for free cookies.
The clown with his makeup all messed up. He's got a big cigar. Thank you, come again. Just like all crusty and crabby and everything. That'd be great too.
Giving out those coupons for those free cookies. Yeah, remember they used to have the coupons for the free cookies. You'd always get those little certificates in your trick or treat bags. So giving that shit out. I don't even know if they have those boxes of cookies no more.
I don't think so.
Those were good. Like those.
I'm sure somewhere Joe has found them and he still eats them somehow.
I'm curious if somebody can find a box on eBay and buys it and sends it to Joe, he will eat them on here for free.
If you guys want to find old stuff on eBay, just mail it to Joe and he'll eat it live on the show.
Or like an unopened box of Ecto Cooler from the early 90s, like that, and see if Joe would drink that.
Actually, I do have a bunch of the Ecto Coolers that they re-released when the newest Ghostbusters came out. It's just sitting on top of the fridge.
I wasn't going to buy it. I didn't want to support anything that was remotely close to that piece of shit reboot. So I'm like, and they made sure they had the plaster all over the high seas they relaunched too. So I was like, no, I'm not doing this.
I've eaten some old stuff like that 30-year-old gum, but the coolers, that probably would get me sick, I could imagine. But I'd try cookies. I'd try 30-year-old cookies maybe, but we'll see.
You heard it here.
All right.
But they must show up in a box with Grimace on there,
Oh,
or the bird. What was the name of the bird? There was a little a girl bird. You had the hamburger, Grimace, the mayor,
Mayor McCheese.
Mayor McCheese.
Mayor McCheese. And you had the French fried kids. The French fried kids. What's that?
Yeah. Was it Birdie? Was Birdie the bird? I know it sounds stupid, but was it Birdie?
It may.
Hang on. I'm getting there. Yep, Birdie the early bird. And we we had Grimace, Hamburglar, Mayor McCheese, Officer Big Mac, the Fry Kids, the McNuggets buddies.
Yes, I remember them. That little talkie nuggets. Yeah.
And the Happy Meal gang.
Yeah, back when McDonald's was awesome, dude. Getting like Bernstein Bears and Muppet Baby toys in your Happy Meals, or Garfield
everything
glasses.
Goes cool.
Everything was
Those
everything was
cool-ass
better than
glasses.
McDonald's in the 80s.
I got tons of those glasses, man. That was like an event when they would have those new glasses. Oh god, that's a whole nother podcast. But all right, guys, it was a blast. So until next time, have a powerful day.
I just can't believe any of this voodoo bullshit.
I know what it is. That is It Takes Two with the Olsen twins and Steve Gutenberg.
Would you stop it? Every week he says
Hey,
it
at
takes
least it
two.
wasn't basketball, like Joe always assumes.
Yeah, he did like to do basketball. I'm gonna have to wait for the chat room. We'll give them 30 seconds because this voodoo bullshit. Voodoo
Well,
bullshit.
Nathan knows this one.
Leaving it up to Joe.
I don't know it. I'm gonna wait and see. Emotional said Weekend at Bernie's too. I don't know. Is it? Is it really? Or no?
No.
Okay. I'm waiting. I'm seeing
But
things.
just
Like I
like
said,
wanted to pull out an obscure, movie sequel reference like that, I'll give you bonus points just for that throwing that out.
because
So
Zen Brown said, "Yeah, Weekend at Bernie's," but
why can't we have something just like really off the wall like Weekend at Bernie's anymore in our mainstream cinema? What happened to that? God, and it made enough money to warrant a sequel.
But I mean, when you
Good
watch
God.
that movie now, it's a fun movie to watch. But I feel like knowing what kind of horse shit they do, they probably have like the Wayans brothers play, the Jonathan Silverman, Andrew McCarthy parts, and Marlon Wayans is trying to work in like some like lame ass like pot humor joke, man. Oh man, check out the shit, man. I'm like seeing dead people walking around, man.
I don't. Well, I was gonna say
Or
nobody
Will
has.
Ferrell running around naked and screaming, "This guy's dead, man! He's walking and shit." Like, I mean, I don't. They just could not do it. At least back then,
You know what?
An idea like that was given some dignity. Whereas today, like comedies now, it's just going to be, Rebel Wilson, falling off a stage because she's fat. I'm like, you just cheap humor. It's like, why don't you do fart humor while you're at it? Because it's just no one tries to be funny anymore. They rely on all this cheap.
You shouldn't have mentioned. I was gonna say you shouldn't have mentioned Will Ferrell because I could picture them doing him as being Bernie and being dead. I could almost see that now.
Oh, God.
Nobody has got it in the chat room, so you're gonna have to tell me what is it.
Man, I'm ashamed of everybody in that chat room.
I know you're not ashamed of me because I forget every week. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, you're just a faking fun. You know what? You're exactly what you hate. You claim you like and have seen all these movies. You ain't seen jack shit, man.
I'm a phony. I'm just a big fat phony.
Yeah, I asked you to comb the desert.
I think
we ain't found shit, man. That's
Weekend at Fistos was another answer thrown out.
yes, it's Keith David from
I
The
did
Thing.
Oh, okay. I did get Rocky 3 last week.
Oh,
What was that?
okay.
Oh,
How many
yeah, 'cause I
times,
picked
Joe?
one
How
of
many
those-
times have you seen The Thing?
If I'm gonna have to say it, Tyler knows what I'm
Yep.
gonna say.
Come on, I saw it once.
I know. I
What?
haven't seen it, guys. Actually,
I've probably seen that last time when I was a kid, but I got Rocky 3 last week. But of course, I'm gonna get that. But all right, guys, see you next week.